Welcome to Game of Roses. This is Pace Case.
This is Bachelor Clues, and this is Friday, which means this is This Week in Bachelor Nation. We've got a lot of news to cover, got a lot of stats to cover, some games to discuss.
A wedding.
A wedding did occur.
A mustachioed wedding.
We've got some of those screams from the pit coming up a little bit later. But before we get to any of that, we do have a little bit of business. Our watch parties out here in Los Angeles are still on hiatus, but they're going to be back in a couple of weeks at 33 Taps in West Hollywood, which is right in the mecca of reality television, right across the street from Tom Tom and Pump, right around the corner from Sir, that sexy, unique restaurant. For
right across the valley from Jax's.
Yeah, right across the country from New York City.
I like that we have written, it's in WeHo, parens, a great location.
It is a great location. And if you are part of the Chicago Clout, or you are part of the Dallas Source or the surrounding Texas area, and you want to go to a watch party with some other pit dwellers, you can check out Greystone Tavern in Chicago, where pit ambassador Lily is holding it down. Or you can go to the Dainty Dillo in Austin. To check out any of that stuff. Thank you, everybody who's helping us out with those things. We also must mention Love is Blind Season 7 is underway, and I'm covering it all. Every episode in our Patreon in Clues Corner. It is a wild-ass season so far. Almost as they are coming
out, Clues is watching those episodes.
So far,
Not
it's
a lot
been
of people
riveting.
watch at midnight of the drops, but Clues is there.
It's a game to me. It's like the game is playing at midnight on Tuesdays, so I'm going to be watching it.
It's like a European soccer game.
It kind of is. But this season has been wild. There's a lot of shit coming out, secret text messages, secret children, all kinds of wild stuff is happening, and it's all coming to a head in the current drop that I have out on our Patreon right now.
I will say, just as a warning for this season, if there is one couple that you think is super compelling and fantastic television, don't get too emotionally invested, because they might not follow them to Mexico and ruin your month.
But the ones they do follow will unruin your month. I should also mention that I'm covering Love Island Season 6 USA, which is blowing my goddamn mind. I'm a convert at this point. I'm a convert. I'm going to be watching every season of Love Island from here on out, I think. Covering it all in Clues Corner, of course. And if you have been thinking about, not only into it is going to watch every season ever. You heard it here. Promised on the audio. I have to now. And on the video. This is also on YouTube.
And the video.
We should mention to you.
Watch us on YouTube.
Yes. Anywhere you're hearing us, you can also now watch us. Just go to YouTube and look up Game of Roses. But I should also mention that if you've been hesitant about joining us on the Patreon because you don't want to do a monthly subscription, you can now get Clues Corner, Love is Blind Season 7, and Clues Corner Love Island USA Season 6 by themselves. You can simply go to our Patreon and buy those things and check it out for yourself and see if you would like to then join up every month to get all of this stuff for $10.
Clues a la carte.
Yeah.
Exciting.
That's great.
One day, the Pace Case Palapa will be available a la carte. That day is not today.
Understood.
We're still working through that Vanderpump season.
Yeah.
I love you all. You're beautiful.
Now, Pace Case, shall we move into our first segment?
Let's go.
This is
Game of Roses. State of the game.
All right. For those who may or may not know, this week, a big article came out in the New York Times. By big, I mean 1,000 words. It's not that big, actually. But the title of this article by Shivani Gonzalez is The Bachelor is Shattering Its Own Fairy Tale. And largely what this article is about is the fallout after the Devon Strader revelations that he had a restraining order, that he dumped Jen on a 15-minute phone call, et cetera, et cetera. It's about
That's not tearing fairy tales to shreds.
It's shattering them.
Shattering is, would you rather be shattered or torn to shreds?
Shattered. Complete decimation.
Me too.
Don't tear me to shreds. Don't give me the hope that I can put myself back together. This article is largely about the restraining order with Devin Strader and kind of his checkered past and how can that type of a person be in the show. It is also about Gil from Golden Bachelorette and his restraining order that is now out there. And we're now also getting some reporting that was not in this New York Times article about Guy from Golden Bachelorette, which we're going to get to in a moment. That's also part of the state of the game. But this article, I don't think that the article is particularly well written, and I may do a whole video about that on our YouTube, just going through the article and talking through it point by point. They get all the basic info correct, but it's the kind of backstory. Why is this happening? That is nowhere in there. And they talk a little bit about how the ratings are dipping for Golden Bachelorette. They don't talk about the fact that all network TV is in the shitter.
They should probably update it with the new allegations as well.
Yeah.
I looked at the time the article was published and I was like, oh, they must be kicking themselves. They just missed the latest update.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not up to the second with the restraining orders and kind of bad histories of the guys in The Bachelor, then you're missing something probably. But the bigger idea here is that the New York Times, this is the paper of record for humanity currently in 2024, is now reporting this article with a title that says The Bachelor is shattering its own fairy tale. So the idea that The Bachelor, the producers, how they're making the show, is now detrimental to the franchise as a whole is very much in the zeitgeist. It's being written about on the biggest scale that you can do it, at least in terms of mainstream media. And so, the problem here is really in casting, I think. But let's take this to the next thing, this Guy Gansert stuff that's coming out. So now these reports are coming out from various outlets that he threatened an ex-girlfriend in 2021. This guy is still in Golden Bachelorette, by the way. Gil has been kicked out this week, but Guy is still very much in the game. And what's being reported is that he threatened an ex-girlfriend in 2021, who then sought a restraining order. That restraining order was never granted, but then Guy and his ex-wife both tried to have all of those records sealed on September 30th. That's not the ex who sought the restraining order. Correct. But I believe the ex also tried to help. I think none of them wanted any of this to come out because they didn't want their lives turned upside down. We're going to get to this. Guy also put out a statement today in response to all these articles coming out. But they tried to have all these documents sealed on September 30th. Now, you can do that. You can seal these documents. It wasn't granted. They were not sealed. But even if you do it, the story still remains. It's not like sealing the documents makes the thing you did in the past go away or not have ever happened. He still is somebody who probably should not have been cast in this show. And really the root of this problem is now it seems like every season there's at least one or two guys who have not only credible allegations,
season where there's more than one man.
Yeah, every season that has a player pool of men. At any rate, Guy released a statement on Instagram. I'm just going to read this whole thing right here for you. It says, I would like to respond. This is in his main grid, by the way. I would like to respond to articles about a personal matter from 2021. This was an unfortunate situation that occurred during the incredibly stressful time for me and my former spouse, and was ultimately resolved when she voluntarily dismissed her request for a protective order. Together, we crafted a resolution that was agreeable to both parties. My ex-wife and I recently asked the court to seal her application. So I'm also kind of confused about if this is his ex-wife that was looking for the restraining order or if it was a girlfriend. It's being reported differently in both cases, and the language is kind of unclear about it. But at any rate, my ex-wife and I recently asked the court to seal her application for the protective order as we had hoped to maintain privacy for our family. But I know that with being in the public eye comes responsibility. My ex-wife and I were married for 34 years, and in that time had 4 children who we raised together and deeply loved. They are my greatest accomplishments. My divorce was extremely difficult for me and led me to this is kind of
very
like
low point in my life. And as a result, I acted in a way that does not represent who I am. The past few years have caused me to conduct a deep personal evaluation, and I will always continue to work to improve myself. I am so appreciative of the Golden Bachelorette and Bachelor Nation, as well as my family, who have been exceptionally supportive during the most difficult times of my life. I am eternally grateful for them. This isn't his main grid, right?
Yes. I'm not suggesting people can't change or have low moments or whatever. I don't know how amicable any of these parties involved are now, if things have been forgiven. The bottom line is this. You can't cast people who have this shit in their past on a show that is purporting to be the fairy tale, like the article is saying. If the show is, again, the purported premise is we are going to take a man or a woman and let them date 25 to 30 people in the context of this real life fantasy where we're whisking you away and going on helicopters and meeting Santa Claus in the Finnish snow. That was Nick Vial, of course. If that is if that is the premise of the show, then you can't have people on the show who disrupt that premise. And anybody who has a restraining order, who has some kind of domestic violence things in the past, anything like this, they can't be on the show. There's just no way to
Joan
maintain
doesn't
both
even
things.
have her phone. Like, she is 100% relying on the producers and casting to put her in a safe environment, to cast guys where she's not going to be in danger. And same with Jen Tran.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have any opportunity to look this up for themselves. They don't have the opportunity to talk to anyone who might know them other than maybe their family at hometowns, whatever family that person chooses to put on the show. And they guarantee safety in other ways. You know, they do the STD checks. They do whatever kind of background check that they are doing.
Yeah.
I know they said that they, quote unquote, closed a loophole during one of the ones.
Yeah, well, I think the loophole is still open. Despite what they said, it seems very open to me, that loophole.
Another loophole, perhaps. I think we should take a second look. It is so hard to watch this show when this keeps coming out every season.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have 2 back-to-back seasons now, and one of them golden. And I know it's like, it's the same, but in your head, or at least in my head, golden is like, it's a cut above. That one's even more wholesome than the regular game. So it's like, it really can't fucking happen there. And here it is, 2 guys on this season.
It's definitely like men in that generation. It's a tougher comb through,
sure.
I think.
But even if that was the excuse that, like, well, when they were growing up, it was a different time. This shit happened in 2021.
Yeah. There's no excuse for it.
Yeah, the Gill restraining order was granted horrifying. A week before they started shooting. It's not like these guys were doing bad shit in a time when that was kind of admissible in society or whatever. This is all happening now. These guys are doing this shit now.
You don't understand. 70 million people were doing this.
Oh, God.
Back in 2021.
Dark Lord Harrison, you're here with me now. I can't believe it.
I'm like, we don't know all the facts, sure. But like, if no one not no one, but a tiny, tiny percentage of people file for restraining orders for no reason, like it is so much to go through, to talk to the police, to go through all of this shit that like you wouldn't do it unless you felt terrified of this person.
Totally.
Unless they would not leave you alone and it's ruining your life. Like, yeah. And yes, people can change, but don't cast them on The Bachelor. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Like,
that's the exact point. It's like, I do think people can change, and obviously not all allegations are credible. That to me is like kind of beside the point. It's about casting. There is no reason to have anybody who has even a shred of doubt about their history or any of this stuff, let alone people who have fucking findable, publicly viewable restraining orders against them.
Yeah.
It's like, if there's even a hint that something like this might pop out of somebody's past, gone, just don't put them in the player pool. Like, I don't understand.
Know what they're doing. Like, are they relying on the honor system? Like, these people are obviously thinking they're not going to get caught going into this. Or like, yeah, I mean, I guess he was worried about it, tried to seal it, but you can't depend on these people to voluntarily say, oh yeah, there was this thing.
Yes. I mean, I almost think you need to, have like a private eye on every person you're about to bring in and be like, you have 2 weeks, find everything about this person, because clearly whatever they're doing for the background checks are just kind of a blanket, like type their name into some system, hit enter. If nothing comes up, they're good. And we found,
we did our due diligence.
Yeah, exactly. It's some kind of legal liability where they can wash their hands of it. Unfortunately, the legal liability isn't where this stops, because you're destroying the audience. And we're going to talk about Joan Vassos's ratings in the gains section. You'll see what's happening. It's making it difficult to watch the show, especially if you're a longtime fan. The core audience that has kept this show alive through some of the worst times, like the bubble seasons and Matt James' season, et cetera, they're starting to get tired of it. And so it doesn't matter about the legal liability. It doesn't matter if you're indemnified against lawsuits and shit. You're not indemnified against your audience saying, fuck you, I've got Love Island now. That's super fun and doesn't seem to have this problem, at least not on the same scale. So
none of these other shows seem to have this problem on the scale. And like, what is that due to? Is it solely due to casting? Is it due to the insane detective skills of the fourth audience? I don't know, but it is not good for morale, Clues.
No, it's not.
And I am also concerned. I'm like, Gil went home. We got one of the restraining orders out, but Guy's on the kiss board.
Yes,
when is Guy
is still
home?
in the game.
This is going to blow up even more if he goes.
Yes, exactly. We don't know how far he makes it, but we do know this. The further you go in the game, the worse this shit's going to get. This will not go away. Every week that he's in the game, it will become a bigger and bigger deal. I would assume at a Men Tell All or a After the Final Rose. I don't know if he'll be made to answer for this. I don't know if they'll sweep it under the rug.
Probably not, based on the past.
If they sweep it under the rug, I think that's lights out. Like, I don't know how you get your audience
Devin
back.
Under the rug.
I know. But I don't think they can do... Look, that Devin thing, I do think I think everybody is very scared still in the Bachelor kind of hierarchy of who's going to take the hit for that. And maybe no one will. Because it's also kind of the window for anybody to be made an example of is kind of closed. No one really gives a shit. Like if they fired somebody now because of that, it would be like, wait, what though? That show ended a month and a half ago. We're watching Jen Train on Dancing with the Stars now. Like, well, who cares? So maybe they've already passed that window.
No, it doesn't seem like they're going to.
Yeah. So how do they fix this casting problem? I don't know, but I think that you could put stronger deterrence in place for guys who are coming into these casting sessions and lying about shit. Like you could just tell them up front, if anything comes out, anything, and it doesn't even have to be a legal document, but if you have a restraining order against you, if you have any kind of credible, and then it gets in that gray area of like, can somebody just make a bad TikTok about you? And then they're like, oh, fuck you. You know, I think it has to be some kind of credible, problematic shit in your past. If it comes out, we can sue you for $10 million and we will do it. We will destroy your life
start
financially.
Suing these people.
Something like that. I don't know.
Destroy them financially. Like there needs to be some kind of a deterrent. I really think the only deterrent is not casting men. And it's like, just do bachelors.
Yeah. Sure.
And then you'll probably be fine.
Maybe, but then you don't have bachelorette. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know either.
It's hard to see them getting rid of Bachelorette. It's easy to see them getting rid of Golden Bachelorette. Yeah. Just based on these ratings. But I don't know any other solution because the criminal justice system is so messed up that like these things aren't popping up and you have to go into the exact counties where people lived. And I don't think they have that kind of resource, like the government resources to do FBI investigation.
They do though. Like if you hire a good private investigator to investigate one person and you give them 2 weeks, I think they can find all this shit out. They're just not doing that. I don't think whatever company they're hiring to do the background checks just has a boilerplate thing they do. They have access to some. Yeah.
It's a search in
systems.
A database.
Exactly. Yeah. And if it doesn't pop up, then it doesn't pop up. But it's like, you need to interview exes. You need to interview their friends. You have to go a little deeper because what happened with Demonstrator.
But what if they're hiding these people? You know, like what's his face? The second place guy on Jen's who had
Marcus Schoberg
allegation. Marcus, like, I bet that guy didn't mention all these people
Of course.
Who he had bad whatever's with.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's mentioning them, but that's up to the show. It's like you can present the show in a different way if you want. You can present it as like a docuseries. We have no responsibility in this. We're just putting you on dates with people. If you like them, you like them. And it's kind of on you to do the due diligence. They can put that on The Bachelor or Bachelorette or whatever. If they
you
do
can
that,
have your
though,
phone.
Exactly. They have to be able to do the research. They've got to be able to Google these people. You need your phone in the show. And that may be a way to get around this. I don't know. But the bottom line is dudes are coming into this player pool. They are applying to be on this show, or they're being recruited, or they're being, their friends are putting them up, suggesting them, whatever. But once they get into the casting process, you as a player are making that decision. You're talking to producers like on Zooms and shit all day. And in some cases, they fly you to LA for the final casting. You're going through that whole process knowing that you have a restraining order or you've done something bad and thinking you can hide it. And it just needs to be made more clear to players, I think. And the producers don't do this for obvious reasons. I do it every time I'm coaching anybody. I tell them, if you go on this show, anything that has ever happened in your life, anything you've ever put online, it will all be seen.
Any text
and
you've ever sent.
Basically. And so I'm always like, if there's anything you don't want to come out, you should not do this show. I tell them all that. The producers don't, because they don't want to deter people. I think the producers should. I think they should be very upfront in the casting. The first thing they should say is like, you don't have to tell us anything you don't want to. But here's what's going to happen. On night 1, 450,000 people in the Bachelor subreddit are going to look at everything you've ever put online, and they're going to find every girlfriend you've ever had. If you have restraining orders,
they absolutely should put the forums up on a PowerPoint presentation and be like, look at this.
Absolutely. Because at this point,
they will find your Instagram likes.
Yeah, exactly. Like put together a PowerPoint about like Lee Garrett,
yes.
and, Devin Strader, all of the fucking like the big people who got really wrecked by people finding their likes or whatever was in their past.
Victoria Fuller.
And just be like, this is what happens.
Rachel Kirkconnell.
Exactly. Yes. This is what happens to people who come in here with secrets. That I think would get rid of a lot of people. Of these people who have shit like Devin Strader. I don't think he would. Had he known that this was going to happen, that this could be a possible outcome, I don't think he would have done the show.
Really?
Yeah. I just
think there's like some sort of mindset, and maybe it's they just convince themselves it won't happen to them. Like the balls you have to have that and go in and be like, oh yeah. But
you know what?
Didn't they find it? Didn't they? And he like explained it away. Wasn't that
find what?
The restraining order thing for Devin?
Yeah, his restraining order was never granted.
Right, but didn't they find that it had been requested or something and asked about it?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Who did?
I thought the producers did.
Oh shit, I don't know.
I thought that was in one of those articles.
Then you know what? Release those tapes. Record all your Zooms. Have that person on camera saying there is nothing in my past. Then when it comes out, put that on the official Bachelor Nation Instagram. Here's what he told us. We did the work. We did our due diligence. At least then it defers the blame, because what the big problem right now, I think, for Bachelor is no one trusts the show at large, the producers, the people making it. Not only do you let these guys on the fucking show every season, we saw what you did to Jen Tran. That decision to have her watch do the hot seat, then watch back the proposal was like, that's a creative decision from the producers. And having her on stage being like, do I have a choice? It has just painted this picture that like the show is torturing people on purpose. Yeah. And we know that's the truth, but not to this degree. And it's very
clear in that case that it's coming from the show.
Yeah.
It's not Devin doing that to her.
Exactly.
I do wonder, we get sometimes these preliminary cast lists on Facebook, the social media of note, and they're like, do your due diligence. But guess what? No one is seeing those. Yep. A lot of these things are coming out once the people see them on TV. So I do think there is another way to do this would be you have them on, you shoot it more live, you shoot it more like Love Island, And then people will see them on TV. You'll get the news during shooting and you kick them off the show when you find out that news.
Totally.
When you've already shot it all, it's like, okay, now we're trying to re-edit. Now we're trying to cut out Gil. Should have cut out Guy.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%. Now, that said, that requires a massive alteration to how they've done this show for literally 20 years. And because it's a network TV show and you're dealing with people who are entrenched in that system with an if it ain't broke, don't fix it mindset.
Yeah.
Well, it is broke. First of all, you do need to fix it, but they're not going to, because in network TV, people have had these jobs forever. And as long as the checks cash, they don't really give a fuck about much else. I think that's where it's kind of at with this franchise. I'm very curious to see what Grant's season does.
That way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was hopeful, it's like, and that's another thing about this article is it's like, it's kind of ignoring the fact that Joey Graziadei's season did so well, but that gets overshadowed by all of this, and like,
of course it does, because the show isn't about Joey Graziadei. I mean, I know it's called The Bachelor, but the show really is about, and for the audience, is primarily women. And the show is about the experience of the women in the show. And so if it's Bachelor, yes, we all like Joey Graziadei, but what we're really watching it for is like, is one of these women going to fall in love with him and get the fairy tale? And then Bachelorette obviously is about the Bachelorette. The guys can be funny and whatever, but we're watching to see, does she get her fairy tale? And invariably, at least in the last couple of seasons of Bachelorette, golden or regular, you don't get a fairy tale. You get a fucking nightmare. That's what the show gives you.
Charity and Dotton.
Yep. That seems 100 years ago, doesn't it? It seems so far in the distance. But even that fairy tale was only possible because they had to get rid of Mike Fleiss, the nightmare creator at the top of the fucking pyramid.
We just need to get rid of all of the nightmares and go back to the purity of our beloved game.
Exactly.
Go back to the fairy tale. I do think, though, that like what you're saying is correct. It's mostly watched by the women and gays, and we should do it from their perspective. And I love your pitch about like shooting it docu style from the women's perspective.
Yeah. Change it up.
And like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's broke. Like,
yes, I agree.
It is toilet city over here. You're not risking anything at this point to experiment, to get some new talent in, etc.
I totally agree with you. And it's what they're doing is ruining a lot of shit. It's like the audience is going away because nobody wants to watch this, but it's also like your possible players. I think you got very lucky
100%.
With Maria Georges.
Yes. And they should have done everything possible to have made her the Bachelorette.
I agree. Whatever she wanted, double her money,
$1 million,
change the shooting schedule, because what you have now is, I think, at least from what I'm seeing in terms of people asking me to coach them for various shows, I'm getting fewer requests to get coached for Bachelor and way more for Love is Blind, Love Island, et cetera, et cetera. So I think like the incoming generations of players.
Do you want to get treated better? Do you want your numbers to be higher? What's the reason for going into Bachelor at this point?
Yeah, I think there's a huge problem here. And Grant Ellis is, unfortunately for him, I think his season is going to be potentially like a make or break. I know they've technically ordered Paradise season 10, but that is a long way away. They can yank that order.
Well, it might get better ratings than John.
I mean, shit. Be hard not to. All right. Anyway, that's our state of the game.
Hope you all are cheered up by this lovely state of the game.
I will say this as I always say this too. As much as it seems like we're in a very bad place as Bachelor fans, and we are, all sports go through this. You go through the very bad times where there's like, I remember one year in baseball, there was a players' strike that like just cut the season in half. It was like, oh, well, that's it. We don't get a half of the fucking season. Nope, guess not. Fuck it. That's the end of that one.
In football, constantly, they're murderers. They're fighting dogs. They're doing all sorts of shit.
Yeah. Well, they're dog fighting. I don't know if they're fighting dogs, but yeah, the Aaron Hernandez show's out right now. He murdered. So there are dark times, and certainly we're going through one of those now. Seems like we've been going through a bunch of them in the last 3 to 5 years.
Well, the show reflects our culture at large.
It does. But I will simply also say this. Bachelor is what it is. And I still maintain that it is mechanically, it is the best dating game on a single kind of, a single player sport level. That said, it has given birth to Love is Blind, Love Island, all the other ones. And I consider it all to be part of the same like dating reality TV sport, really, and I think you'll have one rises to the top, then another one does, and another one becomes more relevant, whatever. I think Bachelor could come back. They just got to change.
A lot of the Love Island USA seasons were not good.
Yeah.
Except for the one with Mackenzie and this past one.
Yeah, this season 6 I love. Anyway, that's our state of the game.
But yes, think outside the box. Let the players play. Give them their phones so that they want to go on the show.
You know what? I'll make this offer right now to any producers listening, to anybody who has any control at the Bachelor franchise. Lizzie and I will come in. If you give us showrunner power, put us at a Claire Freeland level, put us at a Bennett Graebner level. I will promise you that we will make the show better. We will save the fucking franchise if you give us one season to do what we want.
And absolute power.
Absolute power. We cannot be questioned creatively. That's the only thing that I will put in that contract must be established. We'll save the show. I have no doubt that we could do it.
Me too, Clues. Let's do it.
Let us know where we got to be and when we got to be there. All right.
Set it up.
Now we got to move on to that portion of our program where we're talking about
This Week in
Games.
Well, we don't have the ratings yet for this week's Golden Bachelorette. So this is last week's Golden Bachelorette.
Chippendales episode. Such a good episode.
It was. The Chippendales episode, those ratings will be out tomorrow, so we can't report on them quite yet. But we can report on last week. So we have the first 3 episodes of Golden Bachelorette to report on. The premiere pulled a 0.29. The following week actually went up a little bit to a 0.34. And the third week went down to a 0.30. These ratings are abysmal. Just for comparison's sake, Golden Bachelorette came in 4th place of the 4 major networks behind Survivor with a 0.63, Chicago Med with a 0.36 on NBC, and Fox's The Masked Singer had a 0.35. Again, Golden Bachelorette 0.30 with 2.64 million viewers.
In my mind, I'm just going to add that 0.63 from Survivor to Golden Bachelorette, and it would have been a 0.93.
Nice, quick math there. In terms of raw viewers, you also had Golden Bachelorette in 4th place with 2.64 million, behind The Masked Singer at 2.86, behind Survivor at 4.34, and Chicago Med had 5.52 million. Now for some further context, this is what Bachelor in Paradise season 9 was pulling. Its premiere was a 0.38, and it kind of subsisted in that 0.38, 0.36 area. So even that is beating Joan right now. You also had
that finale 0.29.
I know, nobody tuned into that finale. It was brutal. That was
finale.
Golden Bachelor or Bachelor Paradise.
Sorry. Rough.
Also, for context, I would just like to mention I went back and pulled the ratings for a little program called Listen to Your Heart way back in April and May of 2020. They were getting, their premiere was a 0.67. And they did not dip below a 0.5 for the entire season. So that means they are doing basically double.
Padilla.
Yeah, Padilla. They are doing basically double the numbers that Joan Vassis's Golden Bachelorette is. And that obviously has something to do with network TV gets worse every year. The ratings across the board go down every year. This was 4 years ago now. But nonetheless, it is highly regarded as like the worst Bachelor product ever made. And it still is doubling the ratings that Golden Bachelorette is. So that's where we're at with it.
Listen to your heart. Now for those crown gains. The real numbers we care about, not network TV ratings that are created by some sort of shenanigan box, but the Instagram numbers for Joan Vassos. She gained 4.8K this week on Instagram, bringing her to 75.4K total followers. I think she's going to join that 100K club, Clues.
I don't know.
I think she will.
I'm of two minds. I'm like, yeah, she's close to it. And she, there's a lot of season left. We still got finals and playoffs and stuff coming up, but
yeah, that's 5K times
also,
what? 5 episodes? That's 25K right there.
Maybe. I kind of feel like maybe she squeezed all the juice out of this one and this is all she's getting.
I don't think so. I think Joan is going to hit it. I think she will.
We'll see.
And it's also because of her parasocial work is so good.
Yeah,
We're going to
really
get to some of it. Gary could never. I don't think he even knew how to use a phone.
Oh, served.
On TikTok, she has 73.9K followers. And now for the top 5 Instagram gains of her players, coming in at number 5, Guy Gansert put on 638 luscious followers this week.
Oh my God. We got in 4th place there. Pascal put on 938 followers.
Charles Chappell is in 3rd, gaining 1,933 Instagram followers.
That's wild to me. He only got 2K gain for leaving the show to deal with his mother's death and coming back 24 hours later.
Justice for Chalk.
Yeah.
This is disgusting in my opinion.
He needs more followers.
Yeah.
2nd place, we got Kelsey's dad, Mark Anderson, at 2.2K gain this week.
And the top Instagram gain this week for his swan song exit bump, Charles Ling gained 7.5K.
Damn.
Incredible work.
And now for the top 5 Instagram chart overall, we've got Guy still in that number 5 slot with 2,517 followers.
I'm worried for this chart. 4th place, Pascal Ibgui has 2,643 total Instagram followers.
Mr. Legs, although his legs weren't too great on that ice skating day, he did fall down. Jordan Heller has 2,714 followers.
We'll never let it go. 2nd place is Mark Anderson. Kelsey's dad has 23K. He finally got overtaken this week
by none other than Charles L., who is sitting at 25.8K and just skyrocketing. He better be your next Golden Bachelor. If this franchise is still around next year.
If they know anything, they are making Charles Ling the next Bachelor. You want the person that you're rooting for, who's charismatic. He is.
What do you think about this? What do you think about doing a dual Bachelor season with him and Mark Anderson?
Great.
I wouldn't mind that.
I
wouldn't mind it.
I wouldn't mind that either.
Just don't put him on a cruise. Anyway, that's all the gains to speak of. Now, let's check in.
Don't let him see any hairdressers.
Let's check in. That's a deep ass cut. That was a allegation. That was a rumor.
Just for clues.
I mean, I don't even know if that was for me. I don't know who that one was for.
It's for me.
That was never substantiated. Anyways,
sorry.
Let's move on to those kids. This is
Bachelor Nation News.
First up in Bachelor Nation News, on Monday of this week, young Noah Erb and the Bachelor Season 25 FIMP recipient and author Abigail Herringer entered into a legally binding agreement to die together. Some refer to this contract as marriage. See what I've done there?
The facial hair strategist. Yes. As a fiance, I don't even hear what you're saying. The facial hair strategist and Herringer met during season 7 of Bachelor in Paradise in 2021, where they were forced by producers to break up on camera, only to get back together immediately and eventually marry. The event took place at the Philbrook Museum of Art in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they live together now and where Erb grew up.
The property features a 1920s Italian Renaissance style villa on 25 acres of formal and informal gardens. I read that somewhere online.
Informal gardens.
Both kinds of gardens.
Sexy.
The informal garden, I was like, are they growing weed there? 90 lucky guests were in attendance, including Bachelor Nation All-Stars like the Grocery and the Serenior, the Paradise Cell Phone Plant Target Ivan Hall, the Big Body Trash Can Thomas Jacobs and his wife, the Tropical Rail Becca Kufrin, the Journeyman Chris Bukowski, the Entertaining Man for Money Anna Redmond, the defector to the NRU and star of the upcoming season of Perfect Match Season 3 Blake Moynes, and the 5-part PTC maestro Zach Clark.
Wait, is Blake confirmed to be going?
No.
Okay.
But
he's running. This was more than just a wedding. It was a 3-day event that kicked off on Saturday, October 5th with an informal couple shower at their house in Tulsa. Then on Sunday, October 6th, Herringer and Herb hosted their rehearsal dinner and a more formal welcome party, hopefully in the formal garden. Nope. At the Mayo Hotel in downtown Tulsa.
Then came the Monday ceremony, which was officiated by not Dark Lord Harrison, not Dark Lord Palmer, but by Herb's older brother. Not Aaron, but Ben. There's another Herb brother. Old Aaron.
Did he have
Herb,
a mustache?
I don't know. Old Aaron Herb instead rendered best man duties, and Herringer's sister Rachel was the maid of honor.
The couple's German Shepherd creature, Maki, also joined in the ceremony. Cute. Taken directly from People magazine's coverage of the event. Following the ceremony, the newlyweds and their guests gathered at an elegant cocktail reception where they nibbled on past hors d'oeuvres, including smoked cherry tomatoes, tomatos, and beef carpaccio, and enjoyed live music by local brass band King Cabbage. Should I book all the exact same vendors?
Yes, you should, because you got to get your guests to nibble. Congrats to Urban Herringer on surviving.
King Cabbage will travel.
Yeah, you got to get King Cabbage. That's a rite of passage. Congrats to Urban Herringer on surviving their forced Paradise prom breakup to get to the nibbling. Now, up next in Bachelor Nation news, Ari Leyendike's second choice for wife, Lauren Leyendike, has launched a brand new clean makeup line with CMYK Cosmetics. Lauren made the announcement this week that she'd created this new line of makeup with her good friend, Bella Weems Lambert.
Alongside a video campaign for the new collection, Lauren wrote, "Our clean, vegan, cruelty-free makeup collab, CMYK Cosmetics, by Lauren Leyendike is officially live. I'm so excited for you guys to get your hands on these amazing products."
Bachelor Nation All-Stars packed the comments section with congratulatory sentiments. The 4-cookie queen, Hannah Ann Celeste. Talk about deep cuts. That was basically for me and you there. The 4-cookie queen, Hannah Ann Celeste, wrote, "The most beautiful besties. I cannot wait to try out these products. I know they will be amazing." That's
on The
all
Bachelor,
caps.
Season 21, first orgasm player, Raven Gates, Gottschalk, shared her support by commenting multiple heart emojis. Congrats to Lauren Leyendike on this new business venture.
And that's it. That's all we got for Bachelor Nation news, other than the Guy Ganser, the restraining orders, the New York Times article, which we covered up top. There wasn't much going on this week, but congrats to, everybody for getting married and launching their new makeups. Now, let's check out what's going on off the TV screens and on those telephone screens. This is
the Parasocial play of the week.
We saw an incredible array of parasocial plays this week, with both the royal wedding of young Noah Erb and Abigail Herringer and major social media superstars attending Dancing with the Stars behind the scenes. First, Giannina Gabelli, paramour of Gore Girl Bela Kai, posted an iconic Instagram story group photo. She sits on Bela Kai's lap next to Gore Girl Jason Tardik, next to Gore Girl Justin Glaze. Who has whom sitting on his lap? Gore girl Susie Evans. The pair appear to be going strong, and we love to see this kind of star power unite to support Joey Graziadei and Jen Tran on Dancing with the Stars.
Wow,
I love this photo. Did you see this photo?
Yeah, I did. It was pretty mind-blowing.
It reminded me of The Last Supper.
You know who else
no
was
one put
at this?
on their main grid, and they should have.
You know who else I saw doing social media Dancing with the Stars?
Who?
Data. Bachelor
Data?
Yeah. Bachelor
Good
Data.
for Data.
Suzanne
Get
Summers
in there.
creeping around in the Dancing with the Stars. Yeah, it was great.
How many steps did they all take? Data, riddle me this.
Shit, I don't know. Coming in at number 4 on our top 5 parasocial plays of the week, the superstorm Hurricane Milton is devastating Florida right now. Kat Izzo shared some muted photographs of the storm's aftermath this week via Instagram story. She depicts her flooded family street with captions reading, "Family is safe, heart emoji. No power since 10 p.m. last night. Streets are flooded and the damage is real. Sending so much love to everyone and their families." And then there's another one that says, "This, however, is what our street looked like this morning. The white mailbox is ours." There's just a mailbox sticking out of a river, basically. Terrifying, but thank you to Kat Izzo for doing this on-the-ground reporting of what is shaping up to be the most disastrous storm to hit anywhere in our country this year.
Speaking of storms, our third place parasocial play, Tasha Adams. She made a very interesting comment on her newest TikTok in response to some of the fourth audience's speculations. Quote, "Whoa, hold up, settle down, y'all. This is literally just me getting hyped for Nikki's concert here in NYC on Friday. Y'all know I don't play in the mud." Is this referencing the Cold War feud between the ultimate girl gang, Tasha Adams, and the one true GOAT, Caitlin Bristow? Is this playing in the mud? Will the mud strike back? Time will tell.
I don't know. They're like on the fringes. They're not directly confronting each other, but they're firing little shots here and there. I just think there are no winners in this. Honestly,
I did get excited when I saw this.
I think they should both winners? Back off and cool down. Win. I don't think so.
I say fuel to the fire. Lean in harder. We don't have much Bachelor Nation news right now. I love a rivalry.
All right. You heard it there first. Pace case is all for the fight.
No, I guess love wins. Love is all. The most important thing. The friendships we made along the way.
Perhaps. Speaking of friendships we made along the way, coming in at number 2 in the top 5 parasocial plays this week, the race for first and second place this week was tough. In a close second place, we saw an outstanding joint interrogation play by Joan Vassos, Daisy Kent, Kelsey Anderson, and Jonathan Johnson. Over a Pink Panther audio clip, Kent and Johnson cross-examine a seated and flustered Anderson, trying to force her to answer their questions about the end of the Golden Bachelorette season. They demand, "Is your dad engaged? We know you know." Then Vassos comes in to protect Anderson and says, "Back off, guys. Leave her alone." The caption reads, "We know she knows." Side eyes emoji. Tune in to watch Joan's Journey every Wednesday night on ABC at 8/7 Central or next day on Hulu. Hashtag the Golden Bachelorette. Hashtag Bachelor Nation. Hashtag the Bachelor. Hashtag the Bachelor. Hashtag Bachelor in Paradise. 53.1K likes and 2.2 million views. That's as much as the fucking Golden Bachelorette got. The episode.
The real show is on our phones.
I agree.
All of these were strong plays. However, there can be only one winner. Our parasocial play of the week goes to Janae and Kenny. We open this joint SpawnCon Instagram reel on Kenny shirtless reading the Kama Sutra in the pool. Off screen, we hear Janae use her infamous reading of his name. "Kenny, I'm thirsty." A whip sound cracks as his head goes to attention. He jumps out of the pool, towels his torso, and pours sweet kefir nectar into her mouth. It's succinct, hilarious, sensual, and a fantastic ad for whatever this GT's Aqua de Kefir liquid is. The caption reads, I don't know. And it slayed Parasocially. The reel raked in 57.2K likes and 7 million views.
7 million views. Wow.
7 million.
All of these Love Island players are getting just huge SpawnCon deals. Did you see Kateb, Google?
No.
She's doing Google ads. Google ads. You heard of it? That little company?
My sister works there.
Well, congrats to your sister.
I told her to
Congrats
hire her. She probably did it.
Oh, nice. Congrats to all these plays. We have one more play to get to. Not a human. This week, Charlene Joint and Andy Levine's dog, Ruby, took the Parasocial Creature of the Week in a stunning video featuring Charlene brushing Ruby into a catatonic state. If only I could get Scobby into a catatonic state when I brush him. Exactly the opposite happens. He usually bites into my leg and hunts me for the rest of the night. But yes, congrats to dear Shandy, the whole team, and to Ruby. Now we move on to the final portion of our program, in which Pace Case and I descend deep into the bottom of the pit, into the darkest, most murky waters, to issue forth our screams about how our fandom of Bachelor and indeed reality TV at large has drastically changed who we are fundamentally as people, if we can even be called that. This is
Screams from the Pit!
I realize that my scream this week is going to be annoying because I don't want to say exactly what it is until it happens.
Okay.
But I am in Lion Dyke country right now doing wedding venue tours.
Okay.
And I'm going to be doing a very special tour tomorrow morning. This will have already happened when this episode drops. So you will, you'll be satisfied parasocially right away. I'm doing this tour with one of the greatest players who has ever lived, and I will relay the full scream upon completion.
Oh my God. I know what this is. I won't say either. But I do demand what you have already guaranteed us: immediate parasocial satisfaction.
I will satisfy you.
God, I can't wait for satisfaction. And congratulations on this, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a big moment. I wish it was me. All right. My scream this week involves a medical procedure. I was going in for my checkup.
IFI.
Yeah, this is an IFI. I was going in for my checkup, and I notoriously hate needles. I'm about a 50-50 pass out type of person when even a needle is shown to me, let alone inserted into my corpus to drain my humors. Now, what happened was I tell the nurse I'm not going to, 50-50. I may literally wind up on the floor if I'm sitting up. So I need to lay down. So he puts me on this little table, and I'm laying there. And he says, well, do you want to talk about something? That sometimes helps if you take your mind off of it. And I've done this before. I did it when I got my colonoscopy. I just drugged this fucking poor guy straight into the pit. I said, do you watch The Bachelor? That was the first thing that came out of my mouth as soon as he said, you want to talk about something?
And he said, yes,
do you watch The Bachelor?
Famous phlebotomist was on it.
He did not say that. He said he's more of a sports guy, but that his girlfriend watches The Bachelor. And I go, perfect. And just fucking it took about 5 minutes, maybe. The actual blood draw took some time. Let's say 2 to 3 minutes. It took me 5 minutes to get him to start Googling Game of Roses, to be like, oh, this is dope. I can't wait to watch this. You guys do stats. Oh my God, what's a rose quotient? Oh, it was immediate. It was like, as soon as I heard I like sports, but my girlfriend watches The Bachelor, I was like, you're done, dude. You got no shot here.
My target demo.
Yeah.
You got no shot.
It was an easy kill.
Like, he didn't even get my blood.
Yeah, exactly. He quit the job to go devote his life to Bachelor fandom. No, that's not true. But it was one of the cleanest pulls I've ever had, because it was just so like boom, boom, boom. It is a professional sport.
You were
dude.
distracted.
Here's how you measure the.
I thought you meant like cleanest pull of blood. Okay, you meant pull into
that actually
the pit.
It wasn't at all. Look, I don't know if you can see that bruise in the middle of my arm right here, but I think he poked through the vein. That's what I was told.
Oh, maybe you shouldn't do this again.
Yeah, I distracted him. It was my fault. That's how I die in a routine blood drawing. The guy's accidentally just like kills me because he's so hyped up.
It was,
yeah, exactly. How do you, I don't know. Yeah. What's a PTC? Jab. At any rate, that's my scream. Now, we are not the only people screaming here at Game of Roses. As you know, if you would like to submit your own scream, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Game of Roses. You join us in the bottom of this very pit. And you then get access to what we call the Game of Roses Discord. In that Discord, there is a beautiful channel called Submit Your Screams. And all you have to do is record a 1 minute or shorter audio or video format scream, upload it into that beautiful channel. Anya, our social media director, goes through all of those and sends us the best ones. Today, we have one from Rachel Belore. Are you ready to listen to it, Pace Case?
Let's go.
Here we go.
Hi, Pace Case and Bachelor Clues. This is Rachel, and I have a scream that I think Clues will be especially proud of. We had a leak in our kitchen causing damage and have needed to get it fixed. While watching the premiere of Golden Bachelorette, I noticed that Chris S. was not only from a town near me, I'm in Queens, he's in Long Island, but was also a contractor. I looked him up on Instagram and easily found his contracting company. I wrote him an email, and I expected to hear back from an office manager or assistant or something. But when I heard back from him, it was Chris himself giving me his cell phone number. So I was like, I have to call him. I called him and we talked. He was so nice. He is not able to do my kitchen, but he did ask me how I found him and if it was through Instagram. And I let him know, yes, it was through Instagram. And yes, he was the influencer that I was looking for. So just so you know, even the Goldens are keeping track of their Instagram, seeing who's finding them. And I'm sad he won't do my kitchen, but I can't believe I got to talk to him. Thank you so much. Love the pod. Bye.
Oh, God. This warms my heart. It's a scream that is, I don't know what level you put this at, because this is
high level.
It's
You're
high
talking
level
verbally, getting numbers.
The highest level part of it, or the lowest level, however you want to perceive it, is that something happens in your life. I need somebody, a contractor, to come do my kitchen. And the first thought you have is, oh, that guy in The Bachelor is a contractor. Let me contact him. That's a high or low level scream, however you want to look at it. It's an extreme thing that your brain is now rewired to see the Bachelor world as a place where you can potentially get contractors and other people to do work for you in your life.
My scream off of this scream is, why didn't he do the kitchen? You should have done whatever it took to get this man to do your kitchen.
Yeah, pay him double.
Too expensive? Pay him.
He's probably getting
his
inundated.
ideas were too crazy? Just do it.
Yeah, then you have another scream. I hired a guy from the Golden Bachelorette to redo my kitchen, and now we don't have a sink or stove. That was his idea, his artistic vision. A kitchen where you don't cook or eat. Anyways.
And there's no floor.
Yeah, exactly. I love this scream. Thank you so much. The only thing that it really was lacking, in my opinion, is the kind of the dark nature of the pit, where it can sometimes materialize things in your life without you seeking them out. The seek here is really what the scream is. It's that your fandom has overtaken you to such a degree that you are seeking out connections with players from the game that don't have anything to do with the game. It's not like, oh, I ran into them and want to go take a selfie or something like that. You're like, I'm going to hire this guy. This is very similar to like when I bought weights from Blake Ellerby, in my opinion. You're seeking out things to enhance your life, and you're like, well, I might as well get it through my fandom of The Bachelor.
It's like when I went to get my oil changed at the place that just because it was called Palmer.
Yeah, I mean, that's a real deep scream. That's beyond anything we've heard here, maybe.
I guess.
Yeah. It's like you will only now eat food, drink drinks, or get services rendered by people who have similar sounding names to people in The Bachelor. That's a hard one to reconcile.
You got to have a framework for your life.
I agree. And thank you all for providing the framework to our lives for this Week in Bachelor Nation. We will be back next Monday with a new Digging Deeper. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Bachelor podcast world and the surrounding podcast worlds as well. We'll be covering that for you, and our continued coverage of Golden Bachelorette will continue next week. all of our stuff on Patreon is going to be popping off. There's going to be obviously new Love is Blinds coming out next week that I'll be covering in Clue's Corner. And I'll be covering that Love Island season 6 in the meantime.
I saw that they had B&L, by the way, do their promo for the reunion.
What's
a couple
B&L?
that they didn't follow. Well, I'm trying to be like subtle about who it is. I don't want to spoil it.
What?
The 2 people that I was sad didn't go to Mexico, they were in a promo trailer for the reunion.
Brittany
Just
and Leo.
them.
Yeah, they better be at the fucking reunion. Are you kidding me?
I know, but I'm saying they're having them do the ad when they wouldn't even cover them. Anyway,
They should have made that the whole season. I would have dumped all the other players and been like, we'll follow you to fucking Miami. Let's just shoot there for 6 months.
Yeah.
You guys get married,
you won't
have
be
a
off
kid.
camera. We're going to follow you 24/7.
24/7. I agree.
I
Those
would
are
have
their
loved
stars. Brittany has more Instagram followers than anyone on the season currently. Yeah. It's a Jess Vestal situation popping off right now.
Oh my God.
I know. Anyways, that wraps up our show. Thank you for joining us. We will be back with all the things we just mentioned. We hope you'll join us for it all.
Praise be Dark Lord Palmer.
Please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us. And then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast.